All right, guys. You guys want to be let in on a little secret? A secret that only maybe a handful of people outside the shop actually know. This secret isn't that guarded, but it's enough that people always ask me and I never really give any good answer. I always just say heavy. We're gonna weigh the truck today. We're gonna do about the same thing as we did at the Nova last week. I'll put a card up here if you're interested in seeing that. We're gonna scale it, add some weight here and there, figure out what the plan of attack is gonna be in order to slow this big, heavy guy down. But how heavy? You gotta keep watching to find out.
Puff the Magic Dragon.
Don't do that. All right, so now that we got Chris's car done, it's the next day. All we have left to do to his is drill the holes, and then we have to weld the nuts on the bottom and weld the nuts on the top of the all thread to sandwich all that shit together. We're waiting on the all thread. It'll be here Tuesday, but we're gonna drill holes today in his, get his done. But we're also gonna scale the truck and give you a glimpse of how much it weighs. And then we're gonna add some different weight. I just had some plate steel. We're gonna try that out and see what it affects the truck and how bad and biased my stuff is.
And it's always good. If you do drag race, it is good to know the weight of your car because that helps you in your calculations of, you know, what your horsepower, ET, and all that kind of stuff. And anytime you add anything new, you know, if you add more weight, it's going to slow you down a little bit.
And if you take some away, it's going to speed you up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. My goal with this is we're probably going to make a 4-link change on the truck and try to run 850 without any weight. If that doesn't pan out, I'm just gonna switch it back to what I know works, the 4-link, and then add weight to get me to 9.0. I'm gonna need a roughly 200 pounds, or I'm gonna try for like 100 pounds and then change the shift point. Is gonna be kind of my ideal goal. But you know, I guess we only get a couple of qualifiers, so we really should do a test.
You
probably not gonna happen. But we're gonna take a look at the weights on the truck and get holes drilled in Chris's car.
All right, sounded good.
All right. So this is where the old fuel tank used to mount, and this is where I plan on putting weight. We've actually got these slabs cut. These are 60 pounds a piece, totaling 120 pounds. And they will fit right here, long ways. I cut them so that I can actually mount them this direction as well. If I wanted just one of them, I could mount it front or back. So I'm gonna try to square those holes to make sure that they, all the holes will line up. But that's kind of what we were thinking. The first thing we got to do though is weigh it and go over here and take a look. All right, so here's the scales of the truck. Appears to be, if we can get the layer gone, 2847 total, and then I have a front bias of 56%, which is terrible, but it's a truck. What are you gonna do? You know, with the old motor, I was 54%. So I guess because the new blower is bigger and heavier, it actually cost me a little bit on my bias. But side to side, we're at 49%, 50-50, damn near it.
Yep.
So without me in it, it's almost perfect. All right, so I'm gonna get in it, and Chris is going to video the next section, and we'll see what it is with just me in it.
Okay. As we give it a second to settle down, we're at 3086 total, and still 56.1% front to rear, and 51.9% to the left side. Yeah. So obviously, as he moves, it's going to change a little bit from side to side. All right.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so we'll add 120 or 60 pounds crossways in the back and then see what it does.
Okay.
And then we'll add the other 60 pounds the other way.
And you wouldn't think 60 pounds is heavy, but it's heavy. Right. So that's 60 pounds behind the rear axle. Let's see what this gets us here. You're gonna let it settle down a little bit. Okay, 3146 total. Front is now at 54%, 54.6%. And then left side is at 51.9 still.
Certainly gonna have to do some wiring management here.
Yeah.
Gonna have to change out how that's all routed.
All right.
So that's 120 pounds.
Stuck on top of each other. All right. Just let it settle down. We're at 3204. Front bias is now at 53.1%. And side to side still 51.9.
All right, let's check one last thing, and then I'll make a decision on how I want to run this. Let's slide this one. Shit.
That would probably smash your fingers. Okay, see if this changes anything.
I got a place to put my parachute now, though.
That's true. Okay, 3205. Front bias is now 53.3%.
So does that change my bias at all?
I don't think it changed very much at all.
I mean, it's directly behind the rear tire, so it shouldn't. But the further you get out, the more leverage it'll have.
Yeah.
But I guess because the weights are so heavy.
Yeah, the further out, like if you were to go out to the yard with the weight,
yeah,
it would brought it down a lot more. But yeah,
it wasn't discernible. Yeah. So I could mount it
any way you want, probably.
Yeah.
Whatever's easier.
Well, according to the rules, it needs, if I put them on top of each other, I have to have at least 3 5/8 bolts and only really have places for 2.
So do you think we'll ever need to add another 120 pounds?
I mean, unless I can, I think my shift point's gonna make a huge difference in what happens. I think I can run 850. So that's probably what I'll do. I may even try to run 840s and get some more licensing passes in Norwalk. Go ahead and get my next license up. I'll run 840s.
What's the time cut off?
850's the cut off for my license right now.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, so we will decide. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of thinking about how I want to approach installing that weight. But all it's gonna really amount to is drilling some holes in that plate and then sticking it on the holes that were originally there, making them larger. I think it's probably the way we're gonna go with this. I'm gonna make it to where I can use one width-wise, so it's only 60 pounds, make it even, or run 2 parallel to each other. So I'm gonna make sure I have holes drilled to do just that. Mine's really simple. We'll get on Chris's to get those holes drilled on his, and I think it's really about all we can do until the all thread gets here. All right. All right, the big old plates are painted, at least with tractor paint. I guess you could almost consider these tractor weights, really. We're gonna throw them in the truck and get them bolted down. All right, each one of these 60-pound plates is being held down with 4 grade 8 half-inch bolts. We got lots of bolts to hold this. And according to the rules, I could potentially drill some holes in the top of these plates and add an additional 40 pounds to each section, because you can have 100 pounds per 4 half-inch bolts. Try to get some light on the situation here. All right, which you might be able to not see well. This is the new breather system. Comes into an 1¼ inch hose off the burn down tube, goes around into this big Moroso catch can. I was going to run all these hoses to the back of the truck where I had more room for a bigger catch can. But the problem with that is they would have to go underneath the cab, and there would be a low point down there for those hoses, and the oil would just gather at the bottom. I didn't like the idea of trying to put a drain cock valve down there. So this is what I came up with. It's the biggest puke tank that Moroso makes in this two quart size until you go to the square sizes, which I don't have enough room to do square on the firewall. So this was the best option for that. And again, the other side is done similar. Hose comes out of there, right into the tank. And I made sure that the hoses stayed higher so that any of the oil that's trapped in that line can just kind of drain back to the valve covers, and hopefully only alcohol evaporate gets inside the catch can. But I'm going to drain that after every pass, and the drain valve is right down there at the bottom. Now here was a couple of the options that we were gonna maybe use. This was the first can I got. I bought it local from a guy, and I was gonna get 2 of these and mount them on either side. I didn't like the way that was gonna look, plus I'd have to drain 2 of them after every pass. This is a bigger catch can that Mike Ryan over at Performance Automotive offered up to see if I could make it work. There just wasn't a great place to put it other than the back. And again, I didn't want to run the hoses underneath the truck just because it would start collecting all the oil underneath the cab. The other option was to reuse my overflow tank that I was using in the old setup. This mounts right at the top of the radiator, and I'll show you where it would mount. See those little bungs right there? They're on both sides. They mounts right on top of there, and then I could have ran the burn down tubes from backwards this way into it, right? Issue with that is as soon as I put this puke tank on, I could no longer use the wrench or the ratchet on the top blower pulley. And that is how I do all my valves. So I didn't want the struggle of that. So this is what I come up with. All right, I hope that was interesting enough to you guys. Weights are in, we've got some provisions to add even more weight to the truck, but I think our first thing we're gonna do, hopefully the rain is not too loud where you can't hear what I'm saying right now. But I think our initial plan in Norwalk this weekend is going to be take all the weight out of it, tune the motor a little bit leaner, shift it way further up in the power band, launch a little harder, and try to get to 850. I think it's got it in it, providing I can get those tiny little tires, rear tires that hit. I think it's got it in there. So we look forward to showing you that content. I think the next video is probably going to be us maybe getting up to Norwalk, maybe the first day of qualifying something. We'll just have to figure that out, what I can get edited in enough time. But we look forward to showing you all that. We look forward to racing again. We look forward to it all. If you like the content and you enjoy what you're watching, make sure you're subscribed down there below. Comment, tell us you like it, tell us what you want to see, if there's anything interesting that you want to see. If you really like us, try to share us with somebody so that we can grow the channel. That's just going to make what we do a little easier, because hopefully at some point we may be able to get some partners on board. So that's going to be it for us this week. So until next week, we'll see you.